Welcome to today's video on financial recovery after a crisis. If you've recently faced a setback, like a prolonged medical leave that drained your savings, this episode is for you. We'll reframe what just happened, show you why your emergency fund did its job perfectly, and lay out a disciplined, step-by-step plan to rebuild reserves while protecting your long-term goals. To make this practical, we'll walk through budgeting, income strategies, and what to pause so you can regain stability without unnecessary risk. Let's begin, and then we'll map the path forward. Here is the agenda for today. We'll start with a mindset reset, then recognize how the emergency fund worked exactly as intended. From there, we'll build a 90-day recovery plan, set a budget that reveals spending leaks, and focus on maximizing income. We'll also discuss which big milestones to pause and how to keep your retirement perspective intact. Finally, we'll lay out a clear timeline and test your knowledge with quick quizzes. Now, let's transition into a short but important disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial, legal, or tax advice. Everyone's situation is different, so consult a qualified professional who can assess your unique needs. With that context set, let's move to the critical mindset shift. You are not defeated. Although a setback can feel like a personal defeat, it is crucial to understand that your emergency fund performed its job. It prevented high-interest debt and kept your financial structure intact. That is not failure. That is a system working as intended. Now, with that mindset, we can focus on the facts and plan the next steps for recovery. In the recent crisis, your savings were used quickly, which is exactly what emergency funds are meant for. The fund acted as a shield, preventing expensive debt and protecting your financial foundation. Yes, it's uncomfortable now, but the long-term benefit is that your balance sheet remains cleaner than if debt had exploded. The next move is a structured plan, drafting a detailed budget, identifying leaks, and prioritizing income growth. And remember, time is on your side, especially if you're young. Compounding can still play a powerful role in your long-term wealth creation. Now, let's outline your 90-day recovery plan. Here is a practical 90-day plan. First, create a detailed household budget. This is not optional, it is mandatory. Next, isolate spending leaks and set hard caps. Third, define your emergency fund target, typically 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. Fourth, maximize your income by pursuing higher-paying roles and negotiating pay. Fifth, add consistent side work with concrete weekly targets. Sixth, if you're married, coordinate dual incomes, align schedules, responsibilities, and savings goals. Seventh, pause large milestones like buying a home or starting a family until your savings buffer is rebuilt. Eighth, automate transfers into savings to accelerate progress. Ninth, maintain at least a minimal retirement contribution if you can, since compounding favors early contributions. Finally, review your progress weekly and adjust quickly. Next, let's visualize this plan in a flowchart. This flowchart starts with creating a detailed budget, followed by identifying spending leaks and setting an emergency fund target of 3 to 6 months. It then moves to maximizing income through a primary job and side work, with a decision branch for dual income optimization if married. Next, automation of savings ensures consistency. Weekly reviews drive accountability. If the emergency fund is not yet restored, the process loops back to adjustments, either tightening the budget further or increasing income. Once the emergency fund is restored, you can safely resume long-term goals like housing and children while continuing retirement contributions. Now let's highlight why the emergency fund has already proven its value. Your emergency fund prevented new debt during a stressful period, which safeguarded your credit score and preserved future options. It also gave you time to recover without being forced into high-interest borrowing. This is the hallmark of a successful plan. The fund fulfilled its purpose. With that validated, let's design how your budget should allocate cash during the rebuilding phase. This pie chart proposes a lean allocation while rebuilding. Half the budget for core needs like rent and groceries, 20% for variable essentials such as transportation and medical costs, another 20% dedicated to rebuilding the emergency fund, and 10% for discretionary spending to keep the plan sustainable. The goal is to maintain morale while maximizing savings velocity. Next, we'll focus on increasing income, the single biggest lever for faster recovery. The most powerful lever in your recovery is income. For your main job, apply broadly and target roles with higher pay, then negotiate offers. For side work, choose consistent, repeatable gigs such as tutoring, delivery, or freelance projects, and set weekly income targets, say an additional $300 to $600 per week. Build skills that stack into higher earnings through targeted certifications or short courses. If you're married, coordinate schedules and share income targets to accelerate progress. As quick tips, apply in batches, prepare interview stories using the STAR method, set a clear rate card for freelance work, and time block evenings for consistent side work. Next, let's visualize income opportunities in a mind map. This mind map centers on income growth and branches into the main job, side work, skill building, and systems. Under the main job, we focus on applying, negotiating, and seeking internal promotion. Side work includes options like freelance writing, design, tutoring, delivery services, and remote virtual assistant gigs. Skill building involves certifications, online courses, and portfolio projects that command higher pay. Systems include time blocking, weekly income targets, automations, and tracking to ensure consistent progress. With income rising, we should clarify what to pause for now to avoid unnecessary risk. On the left are major milestones and expenses that should be paused for now. Purchasing a home, starting a family, upgrading vehicles, and taking large vacations. On the right is the sequence that makes these goals safer. Rebuild liquid savings, stabilize dual income streams if applicable, maintain retirement contributions at a feasible level, and then resume large goals once the emergency fund is fully restored. This disciplined order reduces stress and risk. Next, let's look at benchmark numbers to guide your budget. Here are benchmark percentages for a lean recovery budget. Needs at 50% cover essentials such as rent, utilities, groceries, and insurance. Variable essentials at 20% include transportation, medical costs, and any minimum payments. Another 20% is dedicated to rebuilding the emergency fund, ideally through automated transfers. The final 10% is discretionary spending that keeps the plan sustainable while remaining tightly capped. With this structure in mind, let's check your understanding with a quick quiz. Quiz time. The question is, what is the mandatory first step on the path to recovery? Your options are A. Cut all discretionary spending to zero. B. Create a detailed household budget. C. Open a new credit card for points. Or D. Invest aggressively to catch up. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to create a detailed household budget. This is the foundation of your recovery plan. Without it, you cannot identify spending leaks, set realistic caps, or target a specific emergency fund amount. Now, let's take one more quick quiz to reinforce priorities around major life milestones. Here is the second quiz question. How should you handle big milestones like buying a home or starting a family during recovery? The options are A. Proceed immediately to avoid missing out. B. Finance them with personal loans. C. Pause them until liquid savings are rebuilt. Or D. Stop saving for retirement to fund them. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to pause them until liquid savings are rebuilt. Housing and children are expensive and require a robust safety net. Attempting them with no liquid reserves introduces unnecessary risk and stress. With priorities clear, let's place everything on a realistic timeline. This timeline starts with the first month focused on building the budget, identifying leaks, and automating savings. Months 1 through 3 emphasize increasing income through job applications and side work, with the goal of reaching 1 month of emergency reserves. Months 3 to 6 target scaling income and reaching 2 to 3 months of reserves. Months 6 to 12 aim for stable dual incomes if applicable, and building to 3 to 6 months of reserves. After the emergency fund is established, it is safer to resume large goals while maintaining retirement contributions. Now, let's consolidate the key takeaways. These are the primary takeaways. First, your emergency fund worked and prevented debt. Second, the budget comes first and guides all decisions. Third, increasing income through both your main job and side work is the largest lever for acceleration. Fourth, pause major milestones until reserves are rebuilt. Fifth, maintain perspective on time and compounding for retirement. Finally, automate savings and review weekly to maintain momentum. Next, let's wrap up with a concise summary. In summary, the setback does not define you. Your system worked as designed. Start with a line-by-line budget to expose leaks. Maximize income by negotiating, upskilling, and adding side work. If you are married, coordinate dual income streams for speed. Rebuild liquid savings before making major life moves. Maintain retirement contributions as feasible because time and compounding are powerful. Finally, let's close out with a quick thank you and a call to action. Thank you for watching. If this helped, please like the video, share it with someone who needs a recovery roadmap, and subscribe for more practical money content. Tell us in the comments, what's your first action this week? Budget, income, or automation? We'd love to hear your plan. See you in the next one.